Four-time Olympian Brian Stemmle is regarded as one of the greatest alpine skiers in Canadian history. As a member of the Canadian national team from 1985 to 1999, Stemmle represented Canada at the 1988, 92, 94, and 1998 Olympic Winter Games, a record that has never been matched by a Canadian ski racer. During his 15 years of international competition, Brian competed in 93 World Cup races, attaining 3 podium finishes and placing in the top 10 on 15 separate occasions. His rise to prominence was the most rapid of any ski racer in the International Ski Federation, rising to the 7th position in his first 2 years on the circuit. In 1996, he captured a silver medal during his FIS World Cup event in Garmisch, Germany. While Brian Stemmle was known as a downhill specialist, he also had great success in the Super G discipline, capturing a bronze medal during the 1985 World Cup event in Furano, Japan. Mr. Stemmle's career, however, suffered a major setback during the 1989 competition in Kitzbühel, Austria, when a horrific crash nearly ended his career and his life. Noted as one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the sport, he fought back from a broken pelvis, massive internal injuries and infection that hospitalized him for 3 months. This was followed by 18 months of rehabilitation, working every day to recover. Doubters suggested that he may never walk, certainly not ever ski competitively, but he returned to the circuit and won a gold medal at the Pan American Winter Games in 1990. Brian also returned to the World Cup circuit for the next 9 seasons until his retirement in 1999. Most notably, he courageously returned to Kitzbühel 5 years after his near-fatal crash and finished 14th, which is considered one of the greatest demonstrations of courage in World Cup ski history. A 6-time medalist at the Canadian Championships, Brian Stemmle now continues to impact sport as a respected television journalist for both alpine skiing and the new exciting sport of ski cross. His insightful broadcast work with the CBC during the 2006 Olympics resulted in him becoming the lead commentator for the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. He continues to inspire a wide audience, including children and aspiring athletes, through speaking engagements. Brian Stemmle has always considered Aurora his home, and Aurora is now recognized worldwide as the home of one of skiing's greatest competitors. In 2002, Mr. Stemmle was inducted into the Canadian Ski Hall of Fame, and the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame is proud to induct him as a member of its inaugural class in 2013.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the presenter, Murray Campbell, Aurora resident and longtime friend of Brian's, and the presenting sponsor, John Crowell of Magna International, and I invite both to the podium to insist on the induction.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be here to personally introduce my friend and great Auroran, Brian Stemmle. As you saw from the video there's not much I can say that'll tell you much more than he did in his career than what was already talked about. Some of the things you think of, he rose to number 5 in downhill. As Canadians, if we sat here with the number 5 best centerman in the NHL, we'd all be pretty impressed. What he did, in Canada may not have got all its glory. It's definitely a European sport, but it was pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, from a personal note, I got to know Brian when he transferred from Aurora High to Williams, where I went to school. More like Rob Ford now. And I didn't really ski. I wasn't much of a skier. I got to know Brian through friends and activities like Kenny sort of discussed, ball hockey and cottage weekends and golf. But what I do know about skiing, and from knowing Brian, is the physical prices that was sort of talked about briefly in the video. When you become a world-class skier and to make those podiums, you sacrifice physically. And it's not just banged up knees, shoulders, ribs, intestines, rips, tears, there's scars. I can remember telling people stories about some of Brian's scars, about shark attacks, and we had a lot of fun with some of them. And then there's the obvious Kitzbühel thing, but I won't go into the details of that. We've all seen enough of it. It's kind of like the Wide World of Sports agony of defeat guy for him. It's just one of those stories that doesn't go away. And just to sort of close on a personal note, one of the oddities of my life, my wife and I, Janet, when we were buying our first home, finally finding that home that you really just can't afford, but the bankers are kind of telling you can, wasn't that house on Stemmle Drive. So I used to find it awkward. I actually had to tell my friends and explain to them, hey, I live on Stemmle Drive. It was kind of like, they look at me, where? You live on your friend's street? That sounds a little odd. Anyway, so he's been famous for a little while, a lot longer than just today. Anyway, to close, I am proud to present 2013 Aurora Sports Hall of Fame inductee and my friend, Brian Stemmle.
It's great to be here tonight in front of all of you who a town I represented on the world stage, and the Stemmle Drive story is hilarious. I went to Aurora High School first. I grew up in King City and Kettleby, and then moved to Aurora, and I went to Aurora High. And Mr. Timpson's there, George Timpson, who was a teacher at that point, was the mayor. A little bit further on in his career and his life, and he asked if they were to council if they were in favor of naming a street after myself, and so they agreed. I found out, went to the street, Stemmle Drive. Sounded so nice, Stemmle Drive. I was thinking Stemmle Street, but whatever, Stemmle Drive. Right along the railroad tracks. Could have been a ravine, golf course, Beacon Hall, the Elders Farm right across the street from where I live. Nope, railroad tracks right there. Okay, look up. There it is, Stemmle Drive. Stemmel. Spelt completely wrong. What an honor. Thank you. Murray always said how he hated having to spell his name spell the street name to everybody that he talked to on the telephone. I told him it wasn't Stemmle Drive, it was Stemmle Drive, L-E. But I have a beautiful picture of it, so I really have to thank George Timpson for naming me in that honor, and it's still there. And I remember Aurora High School a lot. I was an athlete. All I looked forward to was phys ed, and laughed at the kids in the smoking area who were lighting up. I was at the gym just going, wow, glad I chose this path, because I would hate to see what's going down that path. And fortunately, I had a lot of great teachers then that steered me in the right direction. And I had Rod Leonard as a phys ed teacher. And he couldn't do enough for me because I was away half the year. So I moved to Williams, Dr. G.W. Williams, which is where I met my friends for the rest of my life. You know, my friends who, near and dear to me this day, who I grew up with there. And Mr. Frisbee was the gym teacher there. Mr. Atkins was the football coach. And when our quarterback got injured, he said, "Stem, you're in." And all of a sudden, I was a new quarterback. We went 0-8 that year, but a hell of a time. And it's like, if there are any teachers out here or people in the crowd who have kids who have been influenced by teachers, they have such a great opportunity to make kids on what they are, and give people something that they can fight for and have passion for. And for me, it was sports. It was sports on the basketball team. Thank God, Cal, I didn't play with you because I was awful. I sat on the bench, but I was being part of a team that really mattered. It was being part of the football team, part of the soccer team, part of the volleyball team, and having friends around me that I could move away from skiing and really think about what I wanted to do. I had Steve Buffrey, who was a little local beat reporter for the Aurora Banner, writing stories about me, and my mom would say, I didn't know that about you. I find everything about you from that Steve Buffet guy. Now he's with the Toronto Sun and doing a great job there. We're friends still. Well, kind of internet friends. We follow each other on Twitter. Young people explain that to the older people right now, that Twitter thing is. But you create great friends from being in Aurora, lifelong friends. Guys like Lori Buckland, who I would pay $100 a year to have a gym membership and a golf membership at the Aurora Highlands. So I could go in the morning at 9 o'clock every morning, work out, and play golf with my friends at noon every single day, every single time I was there in Aurora when I wasn't traveling around the world chasing the snow. They gave me an opportunity to live out my dream, be athletic, be physical, and enjoy time with my friends afterwards. So a big debt of gratitude goes towards Lori Buckland, who's no longer with us, and it makes me think of people like that and times like that that are really special because they go by so quickly. All of a sudden they're gone. Man, that time's gone. And those times at the Aurora Highlands were really special with Murray and his brother Dave and the Campbell family. They were great times. I remember a lot of my parents' friends who still, to this day, we have an Easter hockey tournament at the community center in Aurora, who still come out and cheer us on. Every single time we're there, every single game, 40 or 35 years later, still coming on to cheer their kids, still coming out to cheer their kids on. Guys like me who didn't play hockey growing up but loved the sport and just loved spending time with my friends, the Campbells, the Stevensons, the Rumbles, the McConnells are there every single time, the Archibalds, the Hussies. It's an amazing group of people, amazing group of friends and family that I have around. And as Kenny alluded to, a lot of my friends have nicknames. My sister always says, and who's Wheels again? Is he Scott or is he... But it's those guys like that I have those nicknames for. Murr, Weed, Wheels, Rub, Huss, Arch, Chappie, Lenny, Rolly, Ship, Stitch, and Dave. I don't know why Dave never had a nickname, but he was just Dave. And my time in Aurora was special. My parents moved here from 1993 to Collingwood, and I miss our home on Steeplechase. I miss the people that came there. I miss the people around us. I miss Jackie, hanging out with her. I miss Cliff Sifton. I miss a lot of people here who I don't get to spend as much time with as I used to. Kenny at the Legion. Those are great times. I cherish those moments. They go by quickly. Don't forget your friends. Don't forget your family. Don't forget the people from Aurora who support you as an athlete, as an Olympian, somebody who represents our country. I'm so proud of this honor today, so proud of representing my hometown. I will always consider myself an Aurorian and a person who grew up here, love the community, love the people. Thank you so much for this honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present you our inaugural inductee, Brian Stemmle.